you know, for the anti-trans bills, a lot of that is, you know, the bill that ended up passing, HB 68, you may or may not have heard of it, that had two parts. The first was banning a certain kind of healthcare for trans children, even if their doctors and parents consented and agreed to this course of treatment. And the other was a ban on transgender student athletes, K through higher ed. Those have nothing to do with each other except for they target the same group of people. That's literally the only commonality. But because we wanted to make this political cultural point, you know, we got to put a nice bit, sort of bow on it. But I think both of those issues separately illustrate this tie. For healthcare, there is an absolute overlap between the abortion rights and the trans rights in healthcare. Again, back to, is it your doctor's choice or is it your politician's choice? That's the decision. But the other thing too is that, you know, it relies on bad science. It relies on misinformation. And it's funded by the same groups. Like, this is what I cannot emphasize enough, is the same people that are pushing the bans on critical race theory are the same people that are pushing the curriculum bans, are the same people pushing the abortion restrictions. I mean, these are really the same groups doing all of these different things. For the sports ban, you know, people might have their own thoughts on sort of the appropriate rules around kids' sports. But again, should it be the state legislature deciding on those boundaries? Because we have independent entities, right? Also, when you have these bills, do you know the first group that is weaponized against is Black girl athletes. It is weaponized against Black women to police their bodies. Like, we've seen that before. And so, you know, we have these ties over. We had the conscience clause that was slipped into the budget a few years ago, the two primary areas that's going to come into play. And that's the right of a doctor to essentially not treat someone if it violates their moral belief. Primary two areas that shows up is abortion and gender affirming care, because those are the things that tend to have the culture war issue. So, you know, and the curriculum ban, same thing, the CRT and Don't Say Gay, those are the same bills. I mean, we saw several bills with both that language in. So, yeah, it just really ties into, if they go after one of us, they go after all of us. And yeah, that's past kind of an ideological point. That's a literal point. I mean, once you break a boundary and decide that this is fair game to regulate, game over.